earlier. Had a few technical difficulties, but we're not gonna let that stop us, okay? I had to go onto my phone. Unfortunately, I wanted to be on my computer with my microphone, but something was going on with the sound. So anyway, I am here now, and let me put this on mute over here. Okay, so we're gonna get into 3 different things that you can do today. These are lifestyle changes that you can do today to start healing your gut, okay? And it's like simple things that you can do, simple things, it's a lifestyle. And then I'm also going to get into some other tips as well, but these are lifestyle things that you can do. And then I'll get into some diet and food things, but we're going to get into just simple changes we can make that are not super difficult, because sometimes things are so complex. It's like, I'm not doing that, you know. It's like we got to start small baby steps and then really get into super healing things. So that's what I want to do, just share some of those things with you all. Sorry, I'm getting things together, hooked up. But let's jump right in. Let me know in the chat any questions you have. Once I get through the 3 different things, then I'm just going to open it up to questions. And if some questions come up while I'm talking about the 3 things, we can obviously answer some of those questions then as well. So anywho, what's it say? Oh, happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Key. Yes, happy Mother's Day. How could I forget to say that to y'all, all the mothers out there? Happy Mother's Day. Hope you're enjoying your day. After I hop off this live, I'm going to go be spending time with my mom and my family. So looking forward to that. So hope you all are having fun, relaxing day. And I think it's a really good thing to do as mothers for self-care, to look into things we can do for our health so that we can be vibrant and take care of our childrens. All right, so let's jump into these 3 things that we can do today to heal our guts. Okay, so these are lifestyle things. So I'm going to actually start with one of the things that I was battling and not doing very well myself lately. And now I just kind of have zeroed in on it because I wasn't doing it. I started to notice some health going down because I wasn't doing this thing. And what is that thing? Oh, and before I get into that thing, if you haven't seen, there is a 20% off Mother's Day sale for all the mothers. It's pinned, the link to it is pinned in the live chat. So if you want to go check that out, it's at my favorite CMOS store online, Derek product. And that's also where my book is released, the book that I collaborated with them on called High Vibes. It's a plant-based cookbook, and it also talks about gut health in that book and also other things like fasting, and it has a 28-day guide to transition into healthier eating and living, and then also a meal plan guide and a fasting guide. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. It's 20% off today. Happy Mother's Day, Timotha. Shoot me a text sometime. Oh, hi, Paul, with your phone number when you get a chance. I lost it. Oh, did you lost all your contacts? Don't you hate when that happens? In chance I had lost it. Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for jumping on. Say happy Mother's Day to your mother as well. But okay, yeah, I'll text you when I get off of this if I remember, but if not, it'll come to me sometime this week. But anyway, let's jump into the first tip that you can do to heal your gut, a lifestyle change. And this is the thing that I kind of stopped doing. I got negligent, and that is make sure that you stop eating at least, I would say, to be on the good side, like just liberal side, at least 2 hours before going to bed, but really 4 hours before going to bed is the better thing to do. So stopping eating 4 hours before you go to bed. So for me, generally I try to stop eating at 5:30. So why do we want to do this? Mainly because overnight your body is regenerating, it's renewing, it's detoxing. Things like your liver and your gut, which we're talking about, they're all trying to restore. Liver's working to get all the toxins out that you inhaled or ingested or absorbed throughout the day, because when you just walk into a store, you're inhaling whatever chemicals that they're spraying to try to get rid of germs and stuff. We're inhaling all that. Your liver's really weighed down. And so every day that happens. So at night, that's the time for your body to just go into this restful state and to regenerate your gut, regenerate your liver, your pancreas, all those things are just detoxing and regenerating. So when you eat, if you eat something Oh, that's a good question, Shakira. Great. Greaves says, what do I do if two, my child two, and they have eczema? Okay, your child is two and they have eczema. How do I heal her gut? Okay, all these things that I'm sharing, your child could do too, but they're kind of advanced, some of them. So, but I have some different things that I'll talk about. And that might be a really good video for just healing your child's gut, because I'm actually working on healing my child's gut. You know, my child, she's 5. But so stopping eating. So you can do this for your child as well. Don't feed your child or yourself right before bed. You know, so let the body heal and focus on healing and not digestion overnight. Because when you eat right before bed, your body is focusing on breaking down the food that you ate, digesting. So it stops being able to focus on regeneration and restoration and detoxification, and it has to focus on digestion. And so that's really taking away from one of the most powerful natural things that our body does, which is to heal overnight and regenerate overnight. So you basically stop that process and make it have to focus on digestion. So I had kind of got negligent. There was a time period I was being really good, stopping eating at like 5:30, because that's what I know my body wants to stop at 5:30. I would go to bed around 10 or so. So I was stopping like 4.5 hours before time to go to bed, and just drinking like water or tea, things like that, but not eating anything. And I would wake up feeling really good. My head wasn't foggy, but now, I'd say like last week, really, I fell off, where I was just eating. Like if I was up late working on something, I would just eat something. Now it would be healthy. It would be not horrible stuff, not highly toxic stuff, but I would be eating something. No matter what it is, your body still has to break it down. So I noticed that when I was waking up in the morning, I noticed that I was feeling foggy and like kind of headachy and just not fully refreshed. And I was like, man, what's going on? And then I was able to realize, like, oh, you're eating late. You're eating at 9:30 sometimes. You're going to bed later. So that's one thing. I was going to bed later, but I was eating either at 9 or 9:30 or 7:30. And sometimes it might be a full meal. Sometimes it might just be a snack, but my body wasn't getting to really regenerate and heal overnight because I was feeding it too late. So that's the first tip. And that is something that you could do, like the question earlier, for your child. Just make sure you're not giving them their dinner super close to bedtime, or some major meal or big snack right before bedtime, because their guts also need to regenerate. And you're right to say, I believe you were saying that your child had eczema. It's really good that you're connecting that to the gut, because it is very much so connected to the gut. Another tip that might be good for you to watch the video that I just put out this past Friday. If you haven't seen it, it's called 3 top foods to heal your gut, or to heal leaky gut. So even if your daughter doesn't have leaky gut, there's something going on with her gut. So I think that would be really good for your child for you to watch the video and give your child some of the different things that I recommend in that video. Just simple things to get the good bacteria up in her body. So that, if you just go on my channel, that is linked, it's there on the channel. I saw another question come through. I will get to that. Let me see. Do you recommend IF? IF, is that standing for in vitro fertilization or something else? Let me know if that's what you mean when you say IF. And if not, let me know intermittent fasting. Because I'm like, in vitro fertilization, we're talking about the gut. Are you talking about intermittent fasting? Let me know if that's what you're talking about. Because if you are, okay, yeah. Yeah, intermittent fasting, yes. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into that. And the answer to that is yes, if that's what your body wants. Yeah, so, and we'll talk about how do we find out what our body wants. Great, I will find the video and watch it. Thank you so very much. You're very welcome. Yeah, it's right there. I'm sorry. I can link to it in the replay. After this video goes live, I'll link to it in the comments, like the pinned comment of what to watch next. So it'll be there, but you can also find it on my channel. It's right there. So we'll talk about intermittent fasting. And but let's go on to tip number 2. So the first one is stop eating Try to do this week. Stop eating about 4 hours before you go to bed. What would you recommend to somebody who got gallbladder removed? My mom didn't know better at the time. Okay, we'll get to that question. That's a really good question. So number 2, slow down and chew. Slow down and chew your food. I was horrible at this. I would be eating, like eating full meals while I'm trying to prepare my meal for my daughter. Then I would just be kind of eating stuff, standing up, not really chewing that well. And even when I would sit down, I'm thinking of the next thing I got to do, so I'm not really chewing that well. And it's what you have to understand is that digestion starts in the mouth. Literally, if you look up digestive system, the tongue, the teeth, all of that, the esophagus is all included in the digestive system. It's not just stomach and intestines and colon and all that. It is literally mouth, teeth, esophagus, all of these things, the stomach going down into the intestines. If you're not starting the digestive process properly in your mouth by really chewing the food, breaking it down, and then mixing it with the saliva, there's a whole chemical thing that's happening there. So that's something else that you could have your daughter do, who I think was it, who had that question earlier? Was it Shakira? But if your daughter is not chewing when they're eating really well, which my daughter is horrible at chewing, she will be like, slow down, chew your food. Then that's really gonna upset the whole digestive process. So trying to train your children and yourself to slow down and chew and really chew your food. I've seen certain doctors and read books where doctors say chew 100 times per bite. I don't think I go to that extreme, which I think that probably is the best thing to do, but it's like, for me, I was probably chewing maybe 5-6 times and then swallowing. So now if I even just chew like 20 times, 30 times, I'm doing good. But really making sure, especially if you're eating anything that's very fibrous, that hasn't been cooked, that's raw, so like a salad or something like that, you really want to chew that. And especially if it's some kind of raw, more coarse leaf, then you really want to be chewing that a lot, because those are harder for your body to break down. Mix it with the saliva, then you're making it easier on your stomach. A lot of people, if you haven't seen some of my other videos where I talk about issues with the gut, one of the things that can cause an issue with the gut is low stomach acid. So if you have really low stomach acid, then your stomach's not necessarily breaking things down the way it needs to as well. So that can really contribute to having issues in your gut, being bloated, all that. So the one thing you could at least do is really chew your food really well, so that at least you've started and helped the stomach a little bit by helping that breakdown process, mixing it with the chemicals in your saliva, and then it goes down to your stomach. And if you have low stomach acid, it's still going to be working. The stomach is still going to work to break down the food that you ate, and you've done a lot of the work in your mouth as well. And so I watched the different videos I have about, even the live stream I did last week, I talk about how to increase stomach acid, things you can do to increase it. But definitely you want to slow down, chew your food to help with digestion. When I started really paying attention to this, and I'm not perfect at this, but when I really do that, I feel a difference with just my overall, like, with my bowels moving the way they should after you eat, within like that hour or so when you eat a big meal and things like that. That happens more frequently if I'm really slowing down and chewing. So the other thing, this kind of connects to that. Number 3 is it's deep breathing before eating and relaxing before eating. So if you really have major issues with, like, after you eat, not feeling good, having heartburn, acid reflux, being bloated, and just not feeling good after you eat a regular meal thing, even if you're eating good foods, and obviously if you're eating some fried, greasy something and you don't feel good, well, you understand why that's happening, because the foods you're eating aren't good. But if you're eating like a really healthy meal and it's like, man, why do I feel so horrible? Maybe you need to really relax your digestive system by taking deep breaths and getting your body ready for eating and digestion. Because since digestion is one of those, it uses the muscles, it's autonomic, it's happening automatically, the muscles in your intestines, the muscles in your stomach, all that stuff. We're not thinking like, okay, digest. But one thing we can do is prepare the digestive system to digest by taking deep breaths and relaxing, because the more relaxed you are, the easier it is for those different parts of the digestive system to work. And so you're just, the other thing that I with mindful eating, taking deep breaths and things like that before eating, I say 3 deep breaths before eating. If you haven't seen my video on the channel, I have a guided deep breathing tutorial on the channel. And then I also have a guided deep breathing. So it starts with guided deep breathing, and then it's 1 hour of relaxed music after that. So there's one that's just the tutorial, one that's the tutorial with 1 hour of relaxed music, where you can kind of practice the deep breathing, because you have to learn how to really get a deep breath and where you're supposed to be breathing into. You know, I'm a vocalist, I'm a singer, so I understand how to breathe into your diaphragm and all that. But if you really want to have healing breaths that are cleansing the liver, cleansing your body, because deep breathing is also a way to detoxify. When you breathe in deep through your nose, exhale through your mouth, you're trying to breathe and expand your ribs, things like that. That's really putting oxygen into your liver, into your all of the different organs of your body to help your body be able to detox. So that's another thing. But more importantly, right before you eat, just relaxing, slowing down, getting your mind focused on the food, turning off YouTube, turn me off, turn off TV, you know, just relax, stop watching stuff, stop thinking of what you got to do, just try to relax. And so that's one thing that when I'm like I said, I'm not perfect, but when I do that, first of all, I enjoy my food better, I taste it better, and I feel like the digestion just is superior, way superior. And like I said, less bloating after, more regular bowels after, which is when you're eating, you should be going to the restroom an hour or so after you eat, within that time period. And a lot of people deal with constipation. And part of that is because we're just so stressed, we're on the go, we're on the go, we're on the go. And your body just, it's not able to relax. And so in order for your bowels and things to move, you need to be more relaxed. So that's the third thing that I would say those are 3 lifestyle things that literally you can do today. But we got some other things you can do. I have 3 bonus tips that you can do. And these are lifestyle, but these also kind of have to do with diet and stuff like that. But these are lifestyle and diet. So let me make sure, I want to get back to some of these questions. I just want to make sure I don't miss some of the questions. And if you want to make sure that I do get to your question, and also support the channel, you can do a super chat that pins your question to the top. And then it makes me see it and make sure that I get to it. But I will try to get to as many questions as I can, but super chat, like I said, supports the channel, and it also pins your question to the top so I get to it. And make sure to like the video, guys. If you haven't liked it, make sure to do a thumbs up so that it pushes us out into the algorithm. We'll push it out so that people see that we're live right now and they can hop on and get these tips. All right, so let's get into the bonus tips, and then we're going to make sure we do get to some questions. So bonus tips, the first one would be anything with gut. If you are trying to do anything for your gut, to help your gut, you want to, whether it's leaky gut, SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or candida overgrowth, that's like yeast overgrowth in your gut, fungal overgrowth in your gut. No matter what it is, parasites, you want to lower sugar intake. Now, when I say sugar, not all sugars are created equal. So there are, we'd have fruit sugars and things like that you can still take, but you still eat, but you want to make sure that you're not doing super high sugar fruits, dried fruits, things like dried dates and dried mangoes and dried apricots and things like that. If you're really having a lot of gut issues, maybe if you are going to eat those, just have literally the recommended amount that you should have, which for dates is literally like 2, and same thing for, like, if you get dried mangoes, it's like 3 little chunks. A lot of times with those, we can just end up just eating. You look up, you had 10 dates. I know that's how it was for me. So those are the reasons why. And a lot of times what's craving that sugar from those dates or from those mangoes is really the bacteria or the fungus or the parasites in your gut. So lowering your sugar intake will really help that. And then also the second thing, and so like I said, not all sugars are created equal. it's a no-brainer that a lot of the sugar that's in like candy bars and ice cream and all that you don't want to be eating. If you do want something sweet and you want to like make your own cookies or something, use organic cane sugar, use maple syrup, use agave, use coconut sugar, all these different more natural sugars, but then still don't overeat those because those sugars still can feed bacteria, fungus, parasites, things like that. So keep that in mind. Lowering your sugar intake is always a good idea if you are suffering from gut issues, period. And then also you want to, this is something that's tough and because you can't see it, lowering your overall just toxicity, okay? So what we need to understand is we are living in such a toxic world, things we can't even see. So for example, right now I'm live streaming to you all via my phone. That is toxic because of all of the EMF, the electromagnetic frequencies that are coming off the phone, disturbing my electrical frequencies, because we have electricity in our bodies, we have energy in our bodies that gets disrupted. So that's toxic. So what do we do to counteract that? Because we need cell phones, we need computers and things like that. We do things like this, which is, you see this little bag right here that I carry with me and I have with me all the time. It is rocks. It's EMF rocks that counteract and help to basically like a shield for those frequencies. They absorb it. They help you be more grounded because the rocks are absorbing that and stopping the negative effect that it's having on your body. So anytime I have my phone with me, I just have either my purse or this is literally in my pocket or something like that right next to me to help block that. So I believe in the description box of this video, there's a link to this company where I get these online. It's EMF Rocks. They have the mini bag. I didn't bring in the big bag that I put that's like on our bed, like under our bed while we're sleeping, because we're getting hit with, like they call it cosmic radiation from satellites and stuff all throughout the night. So that can really affect your sleep. That's toxicity. That is affecting just your overall cellular health and your gut health. So if you're not grounded, if your energy is being disrupted, that's going to affect just complete your ability to regenerate and all of those things. So sleep is so important, which is why my first tip was to stop eating 4 hours before you go to bed, because you need to be able to sleep well and your body needs to focus on healing while you're sleeping. But when you are getting hit with radiation through your cell phone, sleeping with your cell phone charging next to your bed, but you don't have like a EMF rocks to help counteract that, all of those different things, when you're doing that, then you're not getting in a deep enough sleep to restore. So maybe you stop eating 4 hours ahead. That was great before going to bed. But then you have your cell phone charging turned on right next to your bed. You're getting hit with all that EMF. So keep that in mind. That's one thing. So protect yourself from just toxicities, okay? And there's other things that are toxic, something that a lot of us don't realize and a lot of people don't agree, but these antibacterial soaps that are out in the grocery stores and schools and all that, I didn't realize how much that was affecting me until the doctor I work with, I was having symptoms of stuff and my daughter was having symptoms. Well, I was taking her to her little, she was taking gymnastics. I was taking her to her little gymnastics practice and we would go after gymnastics and go in the bathroom there, wash our hands really good. Well, I was using the soap they had there. It's like an antibacterial soap. Well, I had been doing that every week. And finally, the toxicity from that soap built up in me so much that me and her started having issues like gut issues, bloating, constipation, different stuff. And the testing that my doctor does, the functional doctor I go to does, he's able to find out what's causing your issue. He's able to figure out using applied kinesiology, muscle response testing, what energy is in your body that's doing that. He has these little vials that are labeled with different energy. And he was able to find, it was some type of detergent type something chemical. And so when I looked up what chemical, it's all these technical names, what is that chemical in frequently? And it was like antibacterial soaps. And so then he was able to dig deeper and communicate with the body to see, is it from washing her hands at there? And it was like, yes, that's what it is, from washing her hands. What's the test called? Oh, good question. It's called, it's muscle response testing using applied kinesiology, but he has form of testing. It's called like holistic reflex analysis. There's people call it nutrition response testing. But it's basically using your body's nervous system. So the nervous system is like a computer. It has all these, it's electrical impulses. He's using that and a muscle response. So you know how when you go to the doctor and you're little, you'd sit on the table and they'd hit under your knee and see if your leg goes out or not. So that's like a response that's literally, you can't control that response. It's basically your body's nervous system that lets them know how are your reflexes. That's what the muscle response testing is. It's using a muscle reflex, a muscle response, and your body's energy and nervous system. So literally, if I were to take my phone, hold it in one hand, and then say he did the muscle test by using my arm. You can use different muscles, but say it's using my arm, and he were to, see the strength, they call it, get a lock on my arm. And so someone who's experienced with the testing would have to do it. And so you feel like a lock. And then if you take the phone and then hold it, that lock would go weak because that phone is actually messing up your nervous system, your energy. It's taking away vitality from your body. So taking things holding something in your hand, like a candy bar, a phone, anything that's robbing you of vitality, your arm would go weak. And then say if I had my phone and then took these rocks and held it, then my arm would be strong because you're no longer disrupting your nervous system. So it's really deep, and then, using different energies of things, he's able to find like what energy is causing this issue. If it's something that you can't hold in your hand, he has vials that the digital imprint of the energy is in the vial. So it might be this type of bacteria or this type of virus, and that energy is in there. And so you can just take the vial, hold it up, and see, is your body responding to that? Where is it in your body? And there's ways that he does that testing. So it's really deep, but it's very accurate. And that's literally one of the main things that also has helped me heal my gut, is doing testing like that. And really getting down to what my body needs to eat, what products are good or not good for my body, things like that. But one thing that we found was, for me, obviously the cell phone, it was causing me a lot of issues, the electromagnetic waves from that, and then washing my hands with that soap, whatever that chemical is in that soap, there's different ones, different places, depending on the soap, but generally they're using chemicals in those soaps. Even the sprays that they spray at like the grocery store to wash off, that you can get the little wipes, the Purell wipes, and wipe off your cart and things like that. Even those got to a point to where I was wiping down my cart thinking I'm doing good. And then I started having issues with that, and found out later that, through the testing, that it was some chemical that I was absorbing. And then they were able to ask different questions to see, where am I absorbing it? And it was from taking the wipes at Whole Foods and wiping off my cart every time I went there. And finally, my body just couldn't take it anymore. And a lot of the sprays that they're spraying in the stores, I would be inhaling those. Like just recently, I was in a health food store and I inhaled benzoyl peroxide because that was in a spray that they used to wipe stuff down. And so I'm highly allergic to benzoyl peroxide. I knew that from back in the day when I used to suffer from acne. I used to get those little Oxy 10 wipes, and they're benzoyl peroxide is what's in Oxy 10, those little wipes. And so that I would start to get puffy under my eyes and real itchy. And so we found, you're allergic to benzoyl peroxide. Well, I just inhaled that when I was at this health food store. The doctor was able to find you inhaled in benzoyl peroxide, and then asking more questions. It was like, yep, while you were at that store, you inhaled that. And so he was able to find which herb would help to detox that. So it's just one herb that I needed that helped get that out. Sometimes it's an essential oil that you just rub on your back that will get it out. So that's why it's like you can't avoid being exposed to certain things, but the more clean your body is, or the more things that you do that are healing in your lifestyle, the easier it is for your body to regenerate overnight and maybe take care of those things. Like the day that I inhaled that benzoyl peroxide in the store, I totally, like overnight, I woke up like 4 times, which I never do. I woke up 4 times to urgently urinate because my body was trying to process and get that out. So the one thing I'd say, the cleaner I get, my body's surveillance system is up. So the cleaner my system is, my body tells me right away, okay, you've come in contact with something bad. So I'll start to have a symptom like my ear got itchy with the benzoyl peroxide that I inhaled. My ear was itchy, and then I had to urgently use the restroom while I was at the store. And then the rest of that night, I had to keep using the restroom. My body was trying to flush it out. So finally, I reached out to the doctor. He was able to do testing and see, oh yeah, you inhaled this. This herb will help your body continue to process and get that out. So hopefully this makes sense. But the thing to really take into account is, maybe don't, I like now when I go to the stores and if I have to use the restroom, or if I'm taking my daughter somewhere, like how we were washing our hands with that soap at her gymnastics lessons. Now first I was really overboard, and I was literally bringing my own natural soap in my purse, like a bar of soap, taking it out. I was like, this is too much. So now what I do is I rinse my hands with really warm water, and then I'll show you what I use until we get home and use our own soap. Is I use this, this is like my own, it's like a detox spray, or like an antibacterial spray, but it's from doTERRA. I think there's a link to the doTERRA website in my description box. But this is just, basically it's a natural antibacterial spray using essential oils, which are antibacterial. So it has like, what does it have in here? Let me see. It does have a little bit of alcohol, but my doctor tested this with me and I was totally fine with it. And then it has the proprietary On Guard blend. So it has, what's in On Guard, let me see the oils in On Guard, because I have that oil. But also On Guard, if you feel like this oil here is the actual oil. If you feel like you're coming down with something, I would do drops of this On Guard oil as well. So it has wild orange peel, clove, cinnamon, rosemary, eucalyptus. So things like that are very antibacterial. So anyway, just keep that in mind as far as what the toxins that you're being inundated with as you go out into the world, and try not to necessarily always use all these antibacterial wipes and all that stuff. Like, I'll either spray my own cart with that and wipe it down, or now I'm to the point where certain stores that I know wipe down stuff themselves, I'll just wear little like gloves to protect my hands when I'm in the store pushing the cart, because I was getting sick just pushing the cart, just in absorbing that. And the thing is the way I know is my body's surveillance system is much higher than it used to be. I was absorbing all these toxins before, my body just didn't let me know. It's just like one more thing to add into the pile of gunk. But now my body is more alert. So it's able to tell me, oop, you came in contact with something that's not good. And so I'm able to see how many times throughout the day we are really being introduced to things that are toxic. And these toxins, sometimes they go and they layer and add a little layer into your gut. They get trapped in the body and the body can't get them out. The body gets out some of it, but sometimes it can't get it all out. So if you can try to avoid certain things, and we're doing things that we think are helping us, but they're actually hurting us, like washing your hands with all these soaps in the stores that are antibacterial and full of lots of chemicals. If you can just do something more natural and still protect yourself, like use this spray, this On Guard spray, that's just all natural, or use natural soaps, things like that, that's helping your body. And of course, thinking of what do you have in your home that's toxic. So trying to get rid of any detergents that have a lot, that are full of like fragrances and stuff like that, get rid of those things. Think of all those things. That stuff highly affects the gut. Through the testing my doctor does, I was able to find that my gut microbiome crashed years ago because I was eating like a fruit or a vegetable that had a pesticide on it. And the pesticide was trapped in my gut. And that pesticide, I think it was called dicamba or something. It's a pesticide they use in the Midwest. That pesticide crashed my gut microbiome, where it hasn't been 100% for all those years. And it wasn't until he found which herbs my body needed to get rid of that bacteria. And not that bacteria, that dicamba pesticide. He had to get rid of that and then introduce good bacteria through probiotics, probiotic foods. The video that I mentioned earlier, three foods to eat to heal your gut. I talk more about different probiotic foods you can eat and stuff like that, so watch that video. But I had to eat probiotic foods. I had to take a really high quality probiotic capsule. And then I had to like restore my stomach acid, all kinds of things. But that was all because I was introduced to a toxin through a pesticide food that's supposed to be healthy, fruit or a vegetable. So that's why if you can eat organic, try to do that. And if you can't, at least try your best to really wash your food really good, because toxins and pesticides, preservatives, things like that, they all can crash your gut microbiome. So the next tip would be try some gentle fasting. So if you haven't seen, I have a new book that I released with Derek Product. It's 20% off today for Mother's Day. It's on their whole website, 20% off sale. Just a little little commercial. They got sea moss gel, which I have here. I just did a sea moss gel mask. They have sea moss soap that I love. It's part of my skin routine. And then they have I'm just showing you all the things I use from them. They also have this green alkaline powder. It's got lots of stuff in here that's really good. Kale powder, wheatgrass powder, alfalfa grass powder, all kinds of stuff. So I take a teaspoon of this a day, and then they have purple sea moss powder. So just go check them out. The link is pinned there. Check them out. But 20% off Mother's Day sale. But yeah, so one thing that I talk about in the book that's on Derek Product's website is how to fast, like a fruit fast. So I recommend try a gentle form of fasting one day a week. So when I say gentle form of fasting, I mean no water fasting, no dry fasting, because those are very, very aggressive forms of fasting that really put your body at rest, your digestive system at rest so much that your body can start to dig really deep. So to me, I've done water fasting. That was, I'm still trying to recover from what happened with me with that. So it's to me, unless you're working with somebody who's a specialist with water fasting, I'm not going to recommend to you to water fast, because I know how powerful fruit fasting alone can be. Fruit fasting alone can be very powerful. So if you were to just one day just eat all fruit, and this comes back to the question I was asked earlier, intermittent fasting. Do I recommend it? Yes, I do. Some people, their bodies do want to intermittent fast. And the way that, so for example, my body wants to fruit fast, and we're able to figure this out through the testing I was explaining earlier using applied kinesiology, muscle response testing. But my husband's body, once a week, Saturday is the day that generally our bodies want to fast, is he wants to intermittent fast, starting to eat at noon, stopping eating at 6:30. That's the type of fast he's doing that works for him. Some people, it might be one meal a day. So it's you can really kind of tailor make your diet, what works for you, and also base it on how do you feel when you do those, if you can't do the testing that I'm talking about, listen to how your body feels when you are doing the things that you're doing. So if you try a fruit fast and you eat all fruit for one day, and you feel horrible, then that probably wasn't the best thing for you to do. Some people, it might be, if you do eat meat or you eat animal products, it might be one day a week you fast on plant-based products, only plant-based foods. Or you might, if you already plant-based, but you eat cooked plant-based, maybe one day a week you fast by eating just raw plant-based foods. So there's different levels, but this is just, you're just bringing it down to help your body be able to rest one day a week for 36 hours is what I found is to be good with me. So it's literally you stop eating. So for me, I stop eating Friday night, and then I start eating Sunday morning. So all day Saturday, I don't eat, and then I sleep and then wake up and eat my first meal on Sunday. So today, I fasted all day yesterday on fruit, and then today I ate in the morning. And so I was able to really